Joe Biden misstates troops wounded in Iraq and Afghanistan by 47,000. What's going on, guys? MaKaElectric. It is Thursday, the 13th of November, 2014. Difficult video for me to make. I've tried for a couple days to make it. I'm just going to let it flow. Hopefully it comes out and makes sense in the end. This video is not so much about veterans as it is the blatant disrespect that our government shows our veterans. I have nothing but the ultimate love and respect for the men and women of the United States military, those who thought they were signing up to fight for our freedom and liberty. Unfortunately, the darker side of things, if you look into the military-industrial complex and look into who has funded all sides of major wars in our lifetime, well, some of us know it gets pretty dark. But the men and women who signed up with the intent to fight for their country, I have nothing but love and respect for. Joe Biden, however, misstates those wounded in Iraq and Afghanistan, misstates the number by 47,000. Now, I watched him on TV Tuesday with just disgust. Arlington National Cemetery, he is reading from a teleprompter. Someone who truly loves and respects the military, to me, shouldn't have to read from a teleprompter. But then again, Joe Biden doesn't love and respect our military members at all, nor does Obama. To have him misquote the number after he praises himself for asking his people every day what the numbers are, well, I'll put a link. They got the audio. Check it out from the Weekly Standard. To see the people in the audience at Arlington National, I have to sit here in awe and just wonder, does anyone in that audience actually think that the person speaking gives one damn about our veterans? I guess everybody forgot how they closed down the memorials and then the VA scandals, and that's just two stories of a long list. Yet, a couple times a year, what is it, Memorial Day and Veterans Day, our leaders get on TV as if they treat our veterans as if they don't give a crap about our veterans. That's the real reality. And I think we as Americans dishonor our veterans when we refuse to call them out on that. I got a lot more stuff here. This is a lot closer to the truth of what's going on. Wounded vets sue Wall Street over Iraq attacks. In 2012, HSBC entered into a deferred prosecution agreement with United States regulators for violating federal laws by laundering money from Mexican drug trafficking and processing banned transactions on behalf of Iran, Libya, Sudan, and Burma. This article goes on to talk about how a group of veterans is now suing HSBC. I hope this goes viral. This story needs to be posted everywhere about how these banks indirectly helped fund attacks against U.S. troops, more like directly. Look into the military-industrial complex. I wish these guys all the success in their lawsuit. Now, I want to say something about George Bush, and I'm going to try not to go off on a long tirade about this, but it's absolutely disgusting to me to see George Bush Jr. on TV on Veterans Day. This freaking war criminal. It's a travesty that he is a free man. He is responsible for the thousands of deaths of the United States troops. And he gets on a stage. I'll put a link to the video in case everyone forgot. He gets on a stage and cracks jokes about weapons of mass destruction after thousands of troops were murdered over this lie. And to see this war criminal on TV on Veterans Day talking about what a great guy his father is. You know, his father, the one that first announced the New World Order years ago. I absolutely wanted to vomit. I'll put a link to that story and a link to the video, How to Create an Angry American. I'll start it right at the point where he's joking about WNDs. But go back and watch that full video because it's nothing but truth. On with other news. Eric Holder critics. You know, how can we expect a war criminal like George Bush to be brought to justice when the top cop in this country, Eric Holder, Department of Justice, I got an article for you here. Eric Holder to critics of Fast and Furious. Some people can kiss my ass. That's a quote from Eric Holder, the top cop in this country. We wonder why we're in the position we're in. In fact, speaking of Fast and Furious, I got one kind of off topic. Obama Homeland Security is disarming U.S. Border Patrol agents. November 10, 2014. Take a look at that. Never forget Brian Terry. This is a difficult video to make. The New American has this. Merry Christmas. UN declares arms trade treaty to go into effect December 24th, 2014. Speaking of veterans, people who signed up to fight for our freedom and liberty, while they are over there fighting wars supposedly for our freedom and liberty back here at home, more of our freedoms and liberties are being taken away. I'll put a link to this. In fact, I would think that many people who signed up for the military would hold our founding fathers in high regard. Let me remind you of a video clip that came out in 2013. Founding fathers were terrorists, says Obama government. People need to remind themselves. It's 6 minutes long. Pull it up and have a listen. I know I'm all over the place in this video. It's difficult. Let me remind you as well of what our government thinks about our veterans. My best friend, 20 years in the Navy, getting ready to get out. As soon as he retires, he is put on a terrorist watch list. Does anybody remember the year 2009? There was a report that came out, a government report. It was called the MaKaElectric report. I'll put a link to some information. DHS report says disgruntled military veterans might be right-wing extremists. Goes on to talk about how they need to be put on a terrorist watch list, along with anybody who doesn't agree with government. I mean, take a look at the list. Take a look at the list. The DHS report warns law enforcement to be on guard against anyone who opposes illegal immigration, same-sex marriage, free trade agreements, gun control, the New World Order, one world government, the outsourcing of American jobs, the perceived threat to U.S. sovereignty by foreign powers. It goes on. Declarations of martial law, the creation of detention camps. Anyone who opposes this, mind you. Suspension of the U.S. Constitution. Research the MaKaElectric report. There's a lot more to it, but the point I want to hit on right now is how the American government somehow thinks it has the right to declare veterans domestic terrorists. I got a couple more for you. Suicide rate among veterans is 22 a day. Crisis hotline can provide support. So many of our men and women coming home committing suicide. I don't know why. I've never been in the military. I can't speak to what might be going through their minds, but it's heartbreaking. It truly is. That article, November 10, from ABC7. I got a couple more and I'm going to wrap this up. Why did Barack Obama let Terry Lakin go to jail? 17-year. Does anybody remember the name Terrence Lakin? United States Army Colonel, Army Doctor. 17 years of service. Refused to deploy until he could see his commander-in-chief's birth certificate. His military brothers and sisters threw him under the bus, sent him to Fort Leavenworth. Just as a reminder, I want to throw a shout out to him. I'll put a link to that article. Somebody who actually stood up. One more person I want to remember in this video. U.S. Marine Jose Guerena. Went and fought for this country, did 2 tours, come home to be murdered by an Arizona SWAT team. I'll put a link to the video. People need to remind themselves. We dishonor our veterans if we refuse to look at what's really going on in this country, in this corrupt government that doesn't give a crap about our military. Please take a look at the links below. Please pass them around. Rate the video. Send it to your friends and family. Let people know. Tell me your thoughts. Again, I don't mean to offend anyone in the military. I have the utmost respect. My best friend, 20 years in the Navy, signed up because he wanted to fight for his country, wanted to fight for freedom and liberty. And here we sit in 2014 faced with such a dark scenario I don't think any of us could even fathom. But I will not fault the men and women who thought they were doing the right thing. I won't do it. You guys take care, stay safe. I'll see you on the next one.